showrunner, el inmenso Jon Favreau. ¡Un aplauso! Okay, let's begin with the questions. I began with my own questions, and then we have some questions from the fans, okay? Let's start. First question, on the 1st of March, Mandalorian returns to Disney+. So, what can we expect from this new season, Mr. Favreau?
Well, we've introduced a lot of characters and a lot of storylines. We've raised a lot of questions over 2 seasons into The Mandalorian. And there was even some in the Book of Boba Fett, a few episodes that dealt with Grogu and the Mandalorian. And so now we know that the Mandalorian, Pedro Pascal's character, took his helmet off, revealed his face. And among his sect of the Mandalorians, that is a great sin. And in order to be reaccepted into his culture, he has to be redeemed. And the only way to do that is to go to the planet of Mandalore, which is now in ruins, and to go down to the mines and go down to the living waters and bathe in the living waters so that he could be forgiven.
The Star Wars universe now is living an amazing time, a unique time in the history of the saga, no? So we have upcoming new series like Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew.
There's a lot going on over there in Star Wars. Some of it takes place at the same time period as The Mandalorian. So the Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and Skeleton Crew all happened between Return of the Jedi, Episode 6, and Force Awakens, Episode 7. So there's 30 years, and that's our stories take place there. There's other stories like Acolyte, which takes place before, Obi-Wan Kenobi before, Andor before. So that area is what Dave Filoni, my partner, you all know Dave? So in addition to running the show of Ahsoka and being my partner producing all of those projects, he's also involved with the other projects you mentioned, and of course Kathy Kennedy. So there's a lot going on in Star Wars, but I only have to worry about the ones that are connected to The Mandalorian. For me, that's the only ones I have to keep straight, all the facts.
For me, Mandalorian is the best new Stars series, no? Even I love Andor a lot, for example, Boba Fett. But I think I prefer Mandalorian due to the magnificent sense of adventure that it got, the series. That, for me, remembers me the Westerns, even the spaghetti Westerns, the samurais movies,
Yes.
heist movies. So, do you think that is this mix of classic genres who gives Mandalorian this spirit?
Yeah, I think that, look, I grew up, I was about 10 years old when the first Star Wars came out. And I remember what it was like to be a child and to see not just the visual effects, but these myths that I thought was Star Wars. But as I grew up and listened to George Lucas talk, he spoke about the influences of not just the Westerns and the samurai films, but also Joseph Campbell, The Power of Myth, the study of different cultures, the study of history, and the study of stories and even religions. So he was he's a brilliant man that used his anthropology background to help him fashion these characters and stories that still stay with us. And so when Dave and I set out to make The Mandalorian, we talked about not copying Star Wars, but to copy the influences on Star Wars. So we went back and we watched a lot of old Westerns. John Ford, also the spaghetti Westerns, Sergio Leone, Akira Kurosawa, all the cinematic influences that George Lucas had. And that's where we drew our inspiration. And we thought it would be good to take it down to a very simple story with new characters and invite new fans to join who might not have been paying attention for decades, and introduce them to new characters that they would recognize historically from cinema. And of course, for the fans, we made sure we included a lot of references to not just the films, but even the novels, the comics, the toys, everything we grew up with. And so I think we struck a good balance between making it inviting for new fans to come in, welcoming all fans of Star Wars, no matter what their favorite is, but also keeping it simple enough that we could invite new, especially younger viewers to join in, because it's one thing for us to enjoy it, but part of it is that you want to invite a new audience and a younger generation, and that's what's going to keep Star Wars going into the future.
Podemos aplaudir esta respuesta.